So I said the Nobel Prize thing was supposed to be a secret, right? So thanks, guys, for having me and for letting me be your closer. As the team was telling me before, I sort of felt like if I was the last guy in the Olympic race of 4 people, I think the advice that that guy probably got is the same as what I got, which is 2 things. One is, you know, we think you're really good, that's why we put you at the end, and don't screw it up. And that was sort of the advice that I got from these guys, so that was good. What I thought I'd start about is telling you a little story. And my story starts with me being 17 years old and knowing for sure what I wanted to do in the world. And what I wanted to do was be a playwright. And I'd written 3 plays already. And I went out and I said, well, if I'm going to do this, then I need to get some experience. So I went out to the Studio Theater in DC, where I grew up, and I got an internship there. And I had gone through all of the stuff that you expect in high school theater. I'd figured out the light board. I'd known how to build sets. I'd been acting in different productions. And of course, I was writing. And I thought, well, I'll get to do a little bit of all of this stuff at the Studio Theater. And for, you know, about 4 weeks of what my internship was, I focused on 2 things. One was photocopying stuff. And the second was being an usher for productions. So, you know, I first looked at that and I was like, well, I don't know how much experience that's really going to give me. But as I sat there ushering productions, essentially taking people to their seats and then sitting in the back and watching the show, I watched the same show 30 times. And I had never done that in my life, right? Most people don't. But by watching the same show 30 times, and it was this show, it's called Spunk, it was in 1992 at the Studio Theater, great show. And as I sat there in the audience and I watched it over and over and over again, something very interesting started to happen for me, which is I started paying attention to the smallest, minute details. A difference in how one line was delivered from one production to another. A difference in how the props worked. Sometimes they worked one way, sometimes they worked a different way because they were throwing things back and forth, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And the one thing that I noticed is there was this one night when the audience was particularly enthusiastic, where they were really, really energized, not just by the main moments of the production, but by seemingly the whole thing. And at the end of it, they all stood up and they were applauding. They were just having this amazing, amazing time. And the only thing different about that one production was that it was the understudy night. It was the night when all of the people who didn't ordinarily get on stage got on stage and performed. And it was this relatively small theater, and so, as you would imagine, when all of those people had their chance that one night, they went out and they told all their friends and all their family to come and see them on that night. And as a result of that, the audience was filled with all of this goodwill because people knew on a personal level all of the actors. And as a result of that, they were so much more passionate about the production. They were into it because they had a personal connection to the people on stage. A week ago, I went and saw a production at a theater in DC, different theater, and really enjoyed the production, and I wanted to learn more about the actors. And I went through the playbill, and next to each actor was listed their bio. And their bio consisted of a list of all of the productions that they had previously been in. Nothing else, just a list of shows. No Twitter address, no Twitter handle, no website, nothing. It was almost impossible for me as an audience member to have any sort of direct connection to any of these actors if I hadn't known them before, even from the playbill, because all I got was a list of shows and nothing else. So what I'd like to talk to you about today is understanding the most valuable thing that we offer. And I think that one of the pieces of advice I often hear, and I work with a lot of nonprofits, and I've worked in the arts as well, is this idea that in order to be successful, you need to operate more like a business. And I think that's wrong. And the reason why it's wrong is what I'm going to try and focus on today, which is when you start to do that, you lose the most direct competitive advantage you have, which is that you're not faceless. You're not a corporation. You're an arts organization. And you have a soul. You can't imagine how many meetings I've sat in front of corporate marketers where we spent 3 hours discussing whether we were going to put the word healthy or healthful on a package, because they mean entirely different things. If that is a 3-hour meeting, you don't have a soul, right?